The the media reports actually amounts to shoddy journalism.
Okay.
There's a depiction in that article
Mm.
of a waste bin and literally money being thrown into a waste bin. So the headline is money being spent by municipalities and Rustenburg being put at the top of that. That is extremely misleading. The basis of the article was the Auditor General's findings for the financial year 14-15. I don't think that the journalists actually bothered to look at Rustenburg's audit findings for financial year 14-15. Here's the factual situation. Auditor General has agreed with us that there has been fruitless and wasteful expenditure of 516,000. The essence of the article is that Rustenburg has wasted 3 billion rand. Rustenburg has a budget of 4.5 billion rand. Of that amount, the expenditure which is audited by the Auditor General is 3.6 billion. So essentially, out of expenditure of 3.6 billion, we've wasted 3 billion. The AG actually doesn't say that in his findings. It is for that reason that it's indicated that the only amount which can be depicted as fruitless and wasteful expenditure is 516,000. The article simply puts together fruitless, irregular, and wasteful expenditure, and actually looks at these terms as being synonymous, which is at best mischievous. Rustenburg, in terms of the 14-15 financial statements, which is audited, disclosed, it's important to make this point, disclosed irregular expenditure of 650 million rand. Many municipalities are not in a position in their financial statements to disclose this. It is actually a point which the AG took cognizance of municipalities that are able to disclose in their financial statements the extent of the irregular expenditure. Now, it's also important to understand what exactly is irregular expenditure, because it's not synonymous with fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Irregular expenditure simply means that it's an expenditure that could have been incurred by a municipality due to a compliance of a statutory provision and or an accounting standard which is set by the AG's office. In many instances, irregular expenditure does not mean money has been wasted. It does not mean there's been any deliberate intention by anyone to contravene any statutory provision. In terms of what I've alluded to be irregular expenditure in the current, in 14-15 financial year of 650, we have started a very extensive external investigation to look at this irregular expenditure, and the preliminary indication is that this was money well spent. There was value for money, no money was lost. So it is because of those reasons why it is our view that the article is a very poignant example of shoddy journalism. Well, misspending, if you look at the MFMA, the category of definitions which would accord with the misspending is what they define as fruitless and wasteful expenditure. That is misspending. Now, in the context of Rustenburg, for the financial year under review, which was the subject of the article, it's the 14-15 financial year, the fruitless and wasteful expenditure in Rustenburg audited is 516,000. And if you even consider that further, there was money for interest paid to a service provider. There had been a dispute between the municipality and the service provider, and when that dispute was resolved, we had to pay interest on that outstanding invoice. So even there as well, even though we would agree that it's fruitless and wasteful expenditure, it would not mean that money was stolen. Well, at the beginning of the term of the current administration, this is 10-11. Remember, the current administration came in at the end of 10-11. We literally had a month in the 10-11 financial year. For that financial year, the municipality obtained a disclaimer in terms of audit opinions. We then set out to improve that situation. In the next 2 financial years, the municipality obtained a qualified audit opinion. Qualified audit opinion means that there were material misstatements in the annual financial statements of the municipality. Now, we are pleased to indicate that for the financial year under review, the 14-15 financial year, the municipality actually obtained an unqualified audit opinion. We need to indicate that this was something that happened for the first time in the history of the municipality, for it to obtain an unqualified audit opinion. So if you want empirical evidence of improvement within the municipality of financial management, improvement in terms of governance, there you have it in terms of the municipality obtaining an unqualified audit opinion. We are working hard as a municipality to ensure that we obtain a clean audit. We believe we are on course. The investigation, which is being conducted by an external legal panel, has gone a long way in helping us deal with the legacy of irregular expenditure. I need to indicate that there's been a legacy of irregular expenditure which actually straddles about 3 municipal administrations. Some of the critics of the municipality in terms of irregular expenditure, there's a gentleman called Franz Rodman. He leads an organization called Moonsolve and Moonwatch. He's one of the critics of the municipality in terms of this subject of irregular expenditure. We believe that Franz Rodman has a very short memory. In 2008, Franz Rodman was appointed by the municipality as a service provider to help with financial management. Every year thereafter, his scope of work was increased. In fact, for the year in which the municipality obtained a disclaimer, the 10-11 financial year, Franz Rodman compiled those annual financial statements. When we look at the irregular expenditure register, there's an amount of 9.4 million rand which was paid to Franz Rodman. Now, at that point, when they were doing this extension of scope of his work, as a service provider, as somebody who had been contracted to help improve audit outcomes, he should have been the one to indicate that this is actually irregular and not have allowed officials to extend the scope in that fashion. There's a procedure you need to follow of requesting public participation. There's a whole procedure in legislation which wasn't followed. Now, because it suited him at that point, he then gleefully accepted the extra income that he derived from the municipality. So there's a whole lot of work that we've been doing since the commencement of our term, the 10-11 financial year, and the fact that the municipality has now obtained an qualified audit opinion bears testimony to progress that the Rustenburg has recorded over the last 4 years in putting our books in order. Well, there's an ongoing investigation. In terms of that investigation, the municipality has already written off about R1 billion, where we were satisfied. We believed with the we agreed with the outcome of the investigation that in terms of that R1 billion, there wasn't any effort by any official within the municipality to disregard statutory provisions, and in fact, in terms of all of that expenditure, there was value for money. There's 1 or 2 cases which are very serious, and in terms of those cases, we have duly reported such cases because they seem to suggest some criminal conduct. Those cases have been referred to the SAPS for further investigation. There could be 1 or 2 additional ones. Once the external investigation has been completed, we will then issue more information about that matter. There have been cases of disciplinary action taken against officials within the municipality. Some are fresh cases, which will only be uncovered at the later stage when the Auditor General looks at our books for the 15-16 financial year. Yeah, well, if you look at the financial year under review, the municipality had a budget of 4.5 billion. If you look at the expenditure for that year, it's 3.6 billion rand. Now you must remember, a municipal budget, you've got two components to it. You've got a capital budget, you've got what they call an income and expenditure budget. If you look at the capital budget, a lot of that money was utilized towards the implementation of the Rustenburg Rapid Transport project. It's a system which is similar to what you have in the city of Gauteng and the city of Tshwane. So the bulk of our money was spent towards that project. It's about 400 million rand. About 200 million rand was spent in terms of what they call the municipal infrastructure grant. That money was utilized towards road infrastructure development, towards installation of high-mast light. If we move over to our income and expenditure budget, some of the key expenditure for that financial year will include things such as bulk purchases. About 1.2 billion rand was utilized by the municipality that financial year for bulk purchases. This includes paying for water that residents consumed, paying for electricity. I'm pleased to indicate that Rustenburg is not one of those municipalities that owe Eskom money, that owe any of these major service providers money. If Rustenburg had misused 3 billion rand in that financial year, Eskom would have discontinued supply to Rustenburg. Residents will not continue to enjoy water and other services within the municipality. If you look at that income and expenditure budget as well, we had a labor budget of about 550 million. So that money was utilized to pay staff, to pay overtime, to pay councillor remuneration. Councillor remuneration is actually less than 1% of your total labor budget. So those are your major expenditure items in terms of that financial year. There was also about 122 million rand which was spent towards maintenance, repairs and maintenance. So those would be the major items if you look at the income and expenditure budget, if you look at the capital budget. And I've made the point earlier on that the Auditor General has actually confirmed that there is expenditure. It is for that reason that it is confirmed that the fruitless and wasteful expenditure for that financial year is only 516,000. Well, in about 2014, the municipality approved a framework of what is called consequence management. Okay. That officials need to be more accountable for their actions. And in that regard, we have not just approved this framework of consequence management. There's action that we have taken at various levels of the institution. Several managers at middle management level have been suspended. Some are facing disciplinary action. So we are not just talking about consequence management. There's clear examples that we can demonstrate that we are serious about making officials more accountable for their actions. We have what is called an audit action plan. And in terms of audit action plan, there's a number of interventions that we have made. What we inherited in 2011 was poor record keeping. So that has been addressed. There's an overall improvement of systems within the municipality. When we came in 2010-2011, the municipality didn't have an asset register which was compliant with legislation. We've been able to complete the task, which was a monumental task of unbundling our assets. We are quite happy at the moment that we have an asset register which is compliant with the legislation. So those are some of the things which indicate that we have been serious about improving governance. We've been serious about improving overall financial management within the institution.